Stop the music, stop the music. Welcome to yet another beautiful episode with Namangblackie on Shaking Tables with Namangblackie. And this is the 10th episode, ladies and gentlemen. I am super duper excited about this. And it's been an amazing journey so far. It's been a beautiful journey so far. I really appreciate everyone that has stuck around, has commented, that has dropped his reaction, that has come on the live. Each and every one of you, I really love you guys, and I say thank you and thank you and thank you. And this 10th episode, guys, I think this 10th episode has been the most amazing episode I've had. It has been the longest episode I've had. We started off this episode, I think, around 10 p.m. Nigerian time, and we ended it at 4:30 a.m. Nigerian time, guys. Over 6 hours of conversation, over 6 hours of live conversation. It was so much of a drama, for real, guys. It was so much of a drama. So I'll try as much as possible to give you guys a recap of all that was discussed, because this topic is so interesting. All right, let's go into it. The topic was child discipline. All right, we're talking child discipline. What's the best method of child discipline? Do you hit the child? Do you have a dialogue with the child? Or do you do both? Okay, so our first caller of the day was like, yo, he cannot spare the rod and spoil the child. If his child messes up, he will beat the shit out of the child. Okay, he would make sure he beats this child. This child understands that, yo, you just fucked up. All right, so he would beat this child with no thinking twice. All right, but then he was like, there are levels to what a child would do that would warrant different levels of beating. There's beating that you'd beat with the bell, there's this ones you beat with the stick, there's the ones you beat with the wire, there's ones you use the hand to beat. He basically just said, yo, whatever the child does would determine the level of beating that child would get. All right, so but then it doesn't mean that he would not beat his child at all. All right, and then a lady came on and said, yo, she doesn't agree with beating children, okay? Because she sees beating children as abuse. And I'm like, yo, man, are you sure you're Nigerian? But then she's like, yo, beating a child is abuse, all right? That's her opinion. And she's like, no, she could never beat her child just because she grew up from an African home where beating was tolerated doesn't mean that beating was right, which I said, okay, that's fine. That's your point, all right? And she was like, she would not beat her child. She would rather have a dialogue with the child. She would rather have a conversation with the child. She would rather want to understand why this child is doing this, all right? That was her opinion. And then another person said he also subscribed to not beating a child, but if need be, it's okay to spank. Okay, he was like, spanking a child is fine. And I'm like, yo, all these American, all these Nigerians that are in the abroad, but that's what works for them. They feel like it's okay to spank a child, but then it's not okay to beat a child. All right. And another person said dialogue for him is 80%. Beating a child is 20%. So he would first have a dialogue with the child. If need be, then he goes as far as beating the child, but then he believes dialogue should come first. Okay, that was his opinion. Another person said, yo, as Africans, we do not understand dialogue. There is no conversation between us. Beating comes first, all right? This guy's like, yo, my kid messes up, you would get the spank, you would get the slap, you would get the knock, you's gonna get the beating, okay? You will get the beat, you go chop the beat live. You get, that was somebody's opinion. And he was like, as an African, he doesn't understand dialogue. Dialogue can come later, but he believes that, yo, this child needs to be beaten. Like, yes, mess up, you collect. Bottom line. And this whole argument came up with a situation where a Zambian dad, video leaked out about a Zambian dad slapping his son, whom came home with a very, very crazy ass result. Okay, so this kid had like 8 courses to take in secondary school, and he failed to attend his maths and English exam. He got F9s in I think 5 other courses. Then he got an A in music. Okay, now that's not, before you even say that's a normal result in Africa. Do you want to know how much the dad was paying as his school fees? This dad was paying $21,000 in naira, which is like about 8 million naira for a secondary school student. Okay, let that sink in for a bit. Yeah, 8 million naira for a secondary school student who would now come home with his final grade result, all F's and 1A in music, with 2 absent exams in the key subjects in Africa, which is maths and English. And he came home with this result, and his dad decided, out of anger, his dad slapped him. Okay, now this dad slapped him a couple of times, I think 5 to 8 slaps, and then a tug of his hair, and that was it. Okay, that was what the dad did. And some people were like, yo, this dad abused this child. And some people were like, yo, the dad, he didn't even do anything. He merely just slapped him. Someone was like, yo, what I'm going to do to that kid? Do you get what I'm saying? So there were different sides of the story, different reactions to this story that came online, And the first question that most people were asking was, why was the woman in the video recording it? Okay, some people said it's the mom, some people said it's not the mom, but the question was, why is the woman in the video recording this thing? Right? Like, why was she even recording it in the first place? Why would you record your husband beating your son? Why would you even do that in the first place? Okay, but then she recorded it. Somehow the video got leaked to the internet, and now it became a worldwide issue. Like, Africans were reacting to it left, right, and center. Okay, so that was what even inspired this topic, and we had lots of people weighing in on it, lots of people arguing on it, lots of people saying, yo, the dad didn't even do as much as they would have done, because bringing home that kind of a result, that's a straight up dropout, man. You're not going back to school no more. Okay, that was somebody's opinion. Another person said, well, what will happen if in the space of beating this kid out of anger, he snaps into seizure, and now you have to take him to hospital, now you have to spend money in the hospital. So you see, at the end of the day, how you beat the child, it's all that matters. Okay, if you ask me my opinion, I also subscribe to sparing the rod and spoiling the child. Okay, but then if you have to beat a child, just don't beat the child in anger. Because even if it's not a child, even if it's anybody, anything you're doing in anger would never pass the message. It would never, ever pass the message. Okay? You need to set anger aside and discipline the child. There's a thin line between discipline and being angry. Okay? If you have to discipline a child for his mistakes, make this child understand that, yo, I am doing this because you just fucked up. Okay, you don't have to go angry at the child, because when you're angry at the child, you could do something very, very stupid because you are angry. Okay, that's the part that I don't subscribe with the father. He disciplined the child, fine. But how did he discipline the child? He disciplined the child in anger, which, if not for sake of luck or sake of God, as you choose, he would have had the child in the hospital. Okay, but then that didn't happen, fine. But in the case where you have to discipline a child, I really, really don't think you should discipline a child in anger. If a child messes up like this, there are many ways to handle it, okay? You would get angry, I understand. As a parent, of course you would get angry because you are spending that huge amount of money. This is your firstborn. He has younger ones. What kind of message is he passing across to his younger ones, okay? He's supposed to set the pace, not ruin the pace. Okay, so you would want to make a statement out of this, right? And also, the way he disciplined the child, he could have taken that child aside, but then he had the younger ones sitting and watching him do that. Of course, those younger ones would lose respect for the elder brother, right? So there are many things that should have put in check. But because he was angry, he didn't consider all these things. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you have to discipline a child, please, and please, don't do it in anger. do it in love. Okay, there are many ways you're gonna beat a child, and this child will be remorseful and understand that, yo, I'm getting my ass whooped because I just messed up. Okay, that way the child will understand. And even after you finish beating a child, when you're done later on, you can call the child, sit the child down and say, yo, do you know why I did this to you? I did this to you because you did this, and I'm tired of talking to you. I'm tired of warning you to stop doing this, so you need to stop doing this, except you want another spanking or another round of beat. You see, now that way it's going to sink deep into the child's brain, because next time if that child wants to try this, he or she would know that I can't do this because my dad will get mad at me, and I don't want my dad to get mad at me. Okay, so we just need to put a balance between our reaction and our action. Okay, because it might just go south in no time, and you would not want that to happen. Okay, so tell me what you think in the comment section below. Share with me your opinion. What do you think about this situation? Do you think the dad was right? Do you think he was wrong? Do you think it's okay to beat your child? Do you think it's not okay at all? Or do you think it's okay to do both? Is it okay to beat the child and have a dialogue? Or you're not even supposed to beat a child at all? Or you don't even have time for no dialogue. You just want to trash out the shit out of that child and let everything go. So tell me what you feel in the space below. Subscribe to this channel. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Until another beautiful episode, I remain yours faithfully, Namangblackie. And I'm signing out. Peace.